Today, we're going to be delving into 4 principles to build a 7-figure funnel with a tiny list. Hey there, I'm Angela Cedron, business strategist and women's wealth advocate, and I'm delighted that you're watching today. Today, we're going to be talking about the 4 principles of funnel building and how to get them right so that you have a winning funnel no matter the size of your list. And yes, it is incredibly possible to build a funnel that produces fantastic results for you, even if your list is still small. Remember, with lists, we want quality, not quantity. That is the important thing. And it's the same with groups. It's the same on social media. You can have 10,000 followers, but if they're not engaged, it's not that valuable. You want people who are hot to trot, who really want your offer and who are interested in the value that you give, and who have some sort of energetic resonance with your brand. That's really important too. We don't want to attract people who might be interested in what we have to offer, but we just don't want to work with them, or we end up working with them and they're not the right fit and we make each other's lives miserable. All right, so let's delve into principle number 1. Actually, before I do that, there's 4 principles. You have to have a good offer. You have to have the right flow into the funnel. You have to have the right traffic to the funnel, and very important, good follow-up. A funnel without good follow-up is useless. So we're going to delve into that as well. And I'm going to talk about how to get good follow-up and a good nurture sequence at the end of your funnel. All right, so let's talk about the offer. Now, no funnel, no matter how fantastic, you can get the best designers in the world to create it. If your offer is not on point, if it's not juicy as fuck, it's not going to compensate for an offer being lousy. Okay, so you must have a terrific offer that adds a lot of value, that's really going to make a difference to people, and that is real value for money. That's very, very important. Hot market. It's got to be a hot market. Now, to me, the coaching market at the moment is a bit like a gold rush. Everybody and their dog is trying to climb on board and grab a piece of that pie. And yes, it's very competitive. There's a lot of noise going on. But what's going to eventually happen is that the wheat will eventually be sorted from the chaff. And what I mean by that is eventually you will see people dropping off and the market kind of normalizing to the point where the good ones, the good coaches, not just the coaches who are good at marketing, but the coaches who are good at actually coaching and teaching and consulting are going to bubble to the surface. So the fact that it's a hot market and it's very competitive at the moment is not a bad thing, because it means there is demand. But we need to get your offer right and your funnel right so that you can actually service that demand. Does that make sense? Let me know. Drop a comment below and let me know. All right, so we also want an irresistible no-brainer offer. We want to have lots of juicy bonuses in there, delicious, yummy bonuses that really add value to the offer itself. Now, this is really important. One of the things that coaches tend to do is they tend to pack an offer with everything except the kitchen sink. Your audience, in fact, everybody out there who wants information, can pick up this little device here, this little phone. Yeah, isn't she cute? I know, she was the love of my life. And literally find every piece of information in the world they need to know about how to do what they need to do. Whatever the offer is that you're offering, whatever your program, it's all on here. They don't want more information. What they need from you is they need somebody to take the information that they need to know, the minimum amount of information that they need to know to get a result, okay? The simpler your offer and the simpler the path to get the result that they want, the juicier your offer is going to be. Do not flood people with a whole lot of information, because they're going to get overwhelmed. They're not going to do your course, or they're not going to finish it, and you're going to be disappointed as well. So you want an irresistible no-brainer offer. It's got lots of juicy bonuses in it, but bonuses that add value, that are cherries on the top of this perfect little cake that you've made. Abraham Lincoln, or actually no, it was Mark Twain, said, "I didn't have time to write you a short letter, so I wrote you a long one." It is easy to put together a long-winded course with a million modules in it. It is less easy to create a really beautiful, really classy, succinct, elegant little course that has just the right amount of information in it to get your people the result, and also has a roadmap, a very obvious roadmap for them to follow to get from A to B, to get to that result that they want. So the way you build your offer, the way you teach it, and the lovely little bonuses that you add that add that cherry on the top that make their life easier are going to be the things that will differentiate you from other coaches. That's really, really important. And then the final part of your offer, you need to have great copy. Now, copy is a bit of an art form, I'll admit that. And you know what? Once you start getting that cash flow into your business, please just get rid of this job of having to write copy and delegate it to someone else. But for now, we need you to put together some great copy. And that's also what I do when I work with women in Booked Out Boss Babe. We actually work on that offer together. I will roll up my sleeves with them and actually work through things for them myself when they get stuck, because it isn't necessarily easy to write great copy. So you do need great copy. One of my bits of advice for that is go and pick up an edition of People magazine or any tabloid, because they are masters at writing copy. Have a look at the headlines on there, and they will show you how to write intriguing, really curiosity creating copy and headlines. Okay, so that's the offer. Remember, got to have a juicy offer. It's got to be irresistible, no brainer, hot market, and good copy. Something that's really compelling, that hooks people in and that really intrigues them, but also that is speaking in your voice. That's really important too. So I've worked with a number of fantastic mentors. One of them has a really fantastic, elegant, stylish, really yummy, juicy brand, but I just don't speak like her. And initially I was writing my copy like her. And as I started evolving, and I just found it didn't sell as well. So I changed it back to more of my language. And I really started attracting the right people as well. So there is a bit of a fine balance in terms of copy. Go and use some of the other terms that you can find from other funnels. Russell Brunson talks about funnel hacking. That's a very good idea. Go and pick from other people's funnels wording that you like. Don't copy their funnels, but use the best parts, all right? Steal like an artist until you are comfortable writing your own copy or delegating it to someone else. Okay, so let's talk about the second principle. The second principle is the flow of the funnel. You've now got your juicy offer, and you want to make sure that your funnel has this lovely flow that's logical, that's sequential, and that takes your ideal client through the process of going yes, 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 yes. The first sale is always the hardest. So you need to make sure that that first item in your funnel, if you're doing a 3-step funnel, is something incredibly juicy. Don't be afraid to sell something that's worth $300-400 for $7. Use it as a loss leader. You're not actually losing money because it's a digital product anyway, but it's still valuable to your client and they are compelled to buy. And that first offer, as I said, is the most difficult. So if you can crack that nut, if you can get them to lay down their card details and make that purchase, it's much easier to then sell them the next step in the funnel. Make sense? Okay. Now, if we're doing an order bump, so if we have a 3 or a 2-step funnel, we've got that first loss leader. The second and potentially the third product needs to be really complementary to whatever it is that you're selling. So make sure that there is a lovely flow. So if, for example, I'm selling Booked Out Boss Babe or an element of Booked Out Boss Babe, I might sell them the workbook on how to work out your course topic. The next step in that might be another workbook on then how to work out the flow of your course and how to really teach in an incredibly compelling way that's really going to help your audience. And then the third step in that might be how to set up a recording studio to film your offer. I wouldn't sell them a checklist that says, here's how to find your course topic, here's how to grow a Facebook group, and here's how to run an advert. They're kind of similar, but it's not a logical flow through the funnel. So you really want to make sure that the funnel flows through and that the second offer adds something really beneficial onto the first. You're kind of building onto that first thing that you're selling. Okay. You can also obviously use a webinar to get people into your funnel. That's perfectly fine as well if you are potentially selling a higher ticket item. Remember, if you're selling anything over $2,000, unless you have a brand that is incredibly well known, generally, you will not be able to sell it from a funnel. You will need to get people to jump onto a call with you, which is a great thing. I know we're all scared out of our wits around sales and sales calls. I initially was as well, because I had this mentality of feeling like I was taking money off people, but that's not what it is. You are an expert at what you do. You're trying to attract the right people with that same energetic alignment as you. And what a sales call does is it brings the both of you together. It allows you both to see if you have that alignment. I mean, you've got to work out if you want to work with them too, right? Because you are the expert in this field. And then what you do is you obviously tell them if you can help them. And if you can't, you tell them as well. So my point really of that is I want you to realize, even if you are not getting on the phone with them, we're not creating a trap to get people's money off them. You are dog whistling your ideal client with a product that you know that will help them. And you're writing your copy in a way that you know is really going to resonate with them. Okay. So even your funnel is an act of service. You are helping people. You are using your traffic methods. You are using your copy to get that ideal person who you know you can help to see what you have to offer and potentially to work with you. So think of it like that. Okay. Let's talk about the third principle, which is how the heck do we actually get traffic into this funnel? Because a funnel with no traffic is pointless. There are loads of ways to get traffic. And remember, it's a numbers game, okay? So for every 500 eyeballs for your industry and your particular course, a standard conversion might be 10%, 20%, 3%. I don't know. I can't tell you because there is no perfect ideal number. It just depends on the value of what you're selling and, of course, on the audience and on how many people go into your funnel as well. And of course, how hot the market is. Actually, there's a few things that it depends on. So as you go through this process, as you test, practice, you will eventually find out what that ideal number is for your business. But what I do suggest as well is if you can do some research, there might be some research out there as to what sort of conversion you could expect, whether you're a parenting coach or whether you're a marketing coach or whether you potentially are a coach like me. It's different for everyone. You need to find that sweet spot, but you also need to realize that for every so many people, only a small number are going to buy because only a small number are hot at that point. So you've got to get numbers and volumes through your funnel. That's really important. Clearly, the most popular and the most classic way is Facebook ads. I do not recommend Facebook ads if you're starting out in business. The dogs are having a bit of a go at each other. I've got the shepherd and then I've got the little tiny Mulchie and they're best friends, but she gets so cross with him. Anyway, so Facebook ads, do not do them if you're starting out in business unless you know exactly what you're doing. And even then, I had an instance years ago when I used an agency thinking they were going to be fantastic at this. And I had a webinar. And I spent hundreds, and in fact, no, I spent thousands of dollars. I spent $2,500 just on the agency every month, and I spent $2,500 on the advertising. And 2 months, they got my Facebook ad banned. Not my ad, my whole account. I was not allowed to advertise on Facebook. They washed their hands of me. I couldn't get any joy from Facebook. 18 months later, Facebook said, "We're very sorry, we're reverting it." 2 weeks later, the ban was on again. So it's a minefield. And if you are going to go down the Facebook ads route, please make sure you've got good cash flow in your business already. And make sure you use a secondary account, not your Facebook account to advertise from. It is a dangerous, dangerous route to go. And Facebook at the moment is behaving a bit strangely, I have to say. So there is the option of Facebook ads. They're great when they work, but you've got to get them right. It takes testing and money to do that. Try and get onto podcasts. Podcasts are terrific. They create a real sense of trust, and they actually tend to have a higher conversion than Facebook ads because they can see you, or they can hear you at least, or if it's a podcast that's been filmed as well, they can see you, and they really get a sense of who you are, and they're much more likely to then go and look for something that you're offering instead of a paid advert, which doesn't quite have the same social proof for people. Webinars are another way. People love webinars because they can see you, they can see how you teach, they can feel your energy, and you will find that if you've got a good webinar, and that's something that, again, I teach in Book Type Boss Babe. I have a fantastic module where I literally give you the slide pack, every step of the process. All you need to do is plug in your content. So they can be a little bit difficult to get right, but if you've got a good webinar, use it because they are a wonderful, wonderful way to prove what you've got to people. You've got SEO, you've got blogging, you've got social media, just in general, organic stuff, Reels, Instagram, LinkedIn, lots of things. I don't use TikTok. I don't like TikTok. There's some issues on the platform around safety and children that I'm not keen on. And I find it's a much, much younger market anyway. So TikTok is not the platform for me. But if you've got a younger market, then by all means, go hard on TikTok. joint ventures, find affiliates, find people who you can cross-market with, people who potentially have a similar audience to you but are selling a different product. That's another great way to get eyeballs to each other's material. And then, of course, you've got networking, YouTube. There's a whole variety of places that you can get traffic from. But test, test, test. This is something I always teach to newbies, to people starting out in their business. You need to work out what works for you, and you need to be kind to yourself, because sometimes it doesn't always work the first time. You've got to try a few different things to find where you really gel with your market and what works for you. So that's principle number 3. That's all about traffic. And we move on to principle number 4, which is follow-up. Okay, this is something I do not see done very well. You need some sort of a nurture sequence, some sort of a follow-up, whether it's a messenger, whether it's text messages, whether it's emails, whether if you're using ads, you're actually doing a retargeting ad as well. You need a minimum of 3 points of contact after a person has come to your funnel but not purchased. And of course, don't ignore them if they have purchased. Put them into a different, slightly different nurture sequence, but they're already a client. The ones who have come but not purchased, you need to really nurture them. You need, as I said, a minimum of 3 points of contact after they've come to the funnel but not purchased. Now, your conversion rate, roughly, the standard buy-in rate is between 1% and 5%. So you can see what I mean by you need a lot of traffic coming through. So it's very, very important, if only 1% to 5% have come to the funnel and purchased, that you go back to people who went into the funnel but did not purchase, and you give them some sort of a nurture sequence to get them beyond that hump of actually buying from you. Now, I do give nurture sequences away in my course, and I will have a freebie available for a nurture sequence. If you don't have one already, drop a comment below and I will send it to you. All right, my lovelies. Well, it sounds like my dogs are going nuts in the background playing. That's it for today's lesson. I will see you next week.